And the obvious reason for wanting to become is a feeling of insufficiency, inadequacy in the state that we are. And one of the reasons for this is that we live in an imperfect world. Our relations with other people are imperfect. We're not content for a variety of reasons with the way we are. So the way out of that seems to be to become something else.
Yeah, so why not? You see, that means escaping from what is.
Yes, but it may seem that what is something we have a need to escape from. There's something wrong with it.
So why not, all right, take the usual experience. I'm violent. And I have invented non-violence. Right? And I'm trying to become that. And I'll take years to become that. In the meantime, I'm violent. So I've never escaped from violence. Just an invention.
Well, you're trying to escape from it. You may escape in the end.
No, I don't want to escape. I want to understand the nature of violence, what's implied in it, whether it's possible to live a life without any sense of violence.
But what you're suggesting is a more effective method of escaping. You're not suggesting an abandoning of the idea of escaping. You're suggesting that the normal way of escaping, trying to become non-violent, is one way of doing it which doesn't work. Whereas if you do another method, where you actually look at the violence in a different way, you can become non-violent. Well, you're changing then.
No, I am violent.
Yes.
I want to see what's the nature of violence, how it arises.
But for what purpose?
To see whether it's possible to be free of it completely.
But isn't that a kind of escape from it? Being free of something?
It's not an escape.
Why not?
Avoidance, running away, fly away from what is an escape. But to say, look, this is what I am, let's look at it. Let's observe what its content is. That's not escape.
Oh, I see. The distinction you're making is that if you run away, an escape in the normal sense is running away from something, like escaping from prison or one's parents or whatever. But they still remain there. What you're saying is that to escape, rather than escaping from violence, which leaves violence intact and still there, and you try and distance yourself from it, you try to dissolve violence or abolish it.
Yeah, dissolve.
Yes.
Not abolish it, dissolve.
All right. So this is different from escape because you're trying to dissolve the thing rather than run away from it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So running away is everybody runs away.
Well, it usually works to a limited extent.
No, it's like running away from my agony by going to football. I come back home, it's there. I don't want to go to watch football, but I want to see what violence is and see if it is possible to completely be free of it.
If I'm in a very unpleasant society, and I can escape from it by defecting or leaving it and going to another one. And this does, in fact, mean that I escape to some extent. So these are always partial answers, and they're partially effective.
But I don't want partially violent or partially free from it. I want to find out if it's possible to be totally ended. That's not an escape, that's putting my teeth into it.
Yes. But you have to believe it's possible in order to put your teeth into it.
I'm going to investigate. I said, for me, I know what one can live without violence. But that may be a freak, that may be a biological freak and so on. But to discuss together, four of us, and see if we could be free of violence completely means not escaping, not suppressing, not transcending it, and see what is violence. Violence is part of imitation, conformity, right? Part is physical, that are not talking about. So psychologically there's this constant comparing. That's part of hurt. part of violence. So can I live without comparison? When from childhood I've been trained to compare myself with somebody. I'm talking comparison, not good cloth and bad cloth.
Right. Talking about comparing myself.
Myself. With you who are bright, who are clever, who have got publicity, who got... When you say a word, the whole world listens, and I can shout, nobody cares. So I want to be like you. So I'm comparing constantly with myself with something I think is greater.
So this is where becoming comes from, this comparison.
That's just it. So can I live without comparison?
And doesn't that leave me in the insufficient state?
No. To live without comparison?
Yes.
No.
Well, here I start off
then
insufficient.
You understand, sir? Am I dull because I compare myself with you?
Yes.
You're bright?
Yes, you're dull because you compare yourself.
If by comparing myself with you, who are bright, who are clever, I become dull. I think I'm dull.
Yes.
But if I don't compare,
then
I am what I am.
Well, you may not compare, but I may compare. I may say, you're dull.
All right. I say, all right. You say you're dull. I say, am I? I want to know, what does it mean? Does it mean he's comparing himself with me, who is, you follow?
See,
the reverse of it.
It'd be very frustrating, that. Yes. I mean, if one compared oneself with somebody and said, you're dull,
yes.
And then they said, what does dullness mean? Yes.
The other day, after one of the talks in England, a man came up to me and said, sir, you are a beautiful old man, but you're stuck in a rut. I said, perhaps, I don't know, we'll go into it. So I went up to my room and said, am I? Because I don't want to be stuck in a rut. I may be. So I went into it very, very carefully, step by step, and found, what does a rut mean? Sticking a groove along a particular line, maybe. So I watch it. So observation of a fact is entirely different from the escaping or suppression of a fact.